to hear me, so please type into the question bar, just confirm you can hear me and that your audio is working well. We want to make sure of that first of all. While you're doing that, I just want to set the scene a little bit. First of all, you're on a webinar titled The Past, Present, and Future of Link Building with Travis Bliffen, the CEO of Stellar SEO. It's an SEO house outside of St. Louis. Work with a lot of companies all over North America. And we're excited Travis has agreed to join us today. But before we turn it over to him, let's set the scene a little bit, as I said. So as you know, we're LogMyCalls. We're a call tracking and call analytics solution. So we can tell marketers three things predominantly. Number one, we tell them which ads, campaigns, and keywords generate phone calls. So you can track which sources are producing a positive ROI for you. Second is we actually record calls and allow you access to those calls. You can log in and listen to those calls. And third, we analyze the content of those phone calls and then extract data from those calls. So we can give you a lead score for a phone call. Was the caller a good lead or a bad lead? Did they book an appointment or didn't they? Did they result in a sale and additional revenue for your company or didn't they? So these are all things that we extract from phone calls in real time and give you that data at your fingertips so you can make better decisions about your marketing and sales with that data. So that's a little bit about us. The second part of the question people generally ask is, what on earth do you do all these webinars for? So we do, 2 webinars a week usually with marketing experts from around North America, people who've spoken at shows, who write for major publications, who are partners and who are, as I said, marketing experts. And they're on various subjects. So today we have the past, present, and future of link building. Next week we have a live landing page critique session with Tim Ash, who's the CEO of Site Tuners and the founder of Conversion Conference. Those are always awesome. So these webinars allow us to obviously connect with new marketers who may not have heard of us before, but also, probably most importantly, provide really good content for people to learn from and actually improve their marketing with. So that's why we're excited, among other reasons, to have Travis with us today. In terms of announcements, the webinar is being recorded, so we encourage you to watch in your email inbox tomorrow morning. We'll send you that recording. And then second, please ask questions. A lot of you already interacted with us in the question area to make sure you can hear. So please ask questions of Travis about his presentation. His presentation, he said, will last a little while, and then we'll have a chance to ask him some questions for quite a period of time. So I encourage you to save your SEO questions for Travis and your link building questions. That's important. And then the only other thing to mention is where you can find our webinars. Go to logmycalls.com/webinar, and you can see our upcoming webinars as well as webinar recordings here. So please go to logmycalls.com/webinar, and you're going to see a lot of content. We're talking hundreds of hours of webinar content for you to feast upon, which is great. So before I turn it over to Travis, and as I'm turning it over to him, please type in the question bar where you're calling from today. So geographically, where you're located, and maybe what you're hoping to get out of today's webinar. I think those things sort of help set the scene a little bit. So please type into the question bar where you're from and maybe what you're hoping to learn today specifically. I think those things are helpful. So while you're doing that, I'm going to introduce Travis. Travis Bliffen is the CEO of Stellar SEO. As I said, they're based out of St. Louis or near St. Louis, and I can't even remember how I connected with Travis. I can't recall whether it was. I'm not even sure how I met him, but we connected. He did a webinar with us that was fantastic, and so he agreed graciously to come back. He's one of the most detailed and best SEO speakers I've ever heard. So we're excited for him to share his wisdom with us. So with that, Travis, I'll turn it over to you. As I'm turning it over to you, I'll read a few responses from people saying where they're from. So we have people, let's see here. We've got John from Boston. We have Daniel from San Francisco. We've got Julia from Indianapolis. We've got Roger from Colorado. We've got Marianne from Connecticut. We've got Roger. We've got Rochelle from Vancouver. We've got Amy from Connecticut. We've got some people from Iowa, from 2 or 3 locations in California, from Maryland, from Chicago. I'm located in Utah. Our headquarters are in Salt Lake City. And as I said, Travis is in St. Louis. So Travis, thank you for joining us, sir. You now have control of the screen. We can see your slides, so go ahead whenever you're ready.
All right. Well, thanks for having me back. I had a lot of fun last time, and I'm glad I got a chance to come back. And I was also thankful afterwards that a lot of you actually took me up on the chance to ask questions at the end of the webinar. And for several weeks thereafter, I received a lot of email questions. So for those of you that are back with us today from last time, same thing, moving forward. If you have questions, to ask them at the end of the show, to email me. And I always try to get back with people and not leave you hanging. The other thing is I try not to give general vague answers. So when you ask a question, try to make it specific so I can give you some advice that you can actually use and put into action instead of a theory base. But basically, as McKay mentioned, we are outside of St. Louis. We're actually down in Marion, Illinois, but most people don't know where that's at unless they're from this area. So we go with St. Louis because if not, we say Illinois and people assume we're from Chicago, which is actually about 6 hours away from us. With that, I've been doing online marketing for quite a while. I've written for a lot of places, Website Magazine, I'm a regular contributor. And then I've been the featured guest on Search Engine Journal, a lot of trade-related websites, written a lot of articles, did some case studies. But mostly I spend my time in the trenches, so to speak, working with actual customers and helping them come up with SEO strategies and content strategies to help them dominate in their markets and then get their money back on their investment. So with that, I thought today, since I get a lot of questions about link building, we kind of go over, what link building is, and more importantly, what can you do yourself as a business owner, as the in-house marketing person that can actually benefit your company and get some people back to you. So with that, we'll just get right into what link building is. Long story short, in the early days, Google, it transitioned from being more of a directory into a search engine. And with that, they had to figure out a way, well, how will we identify what a website's about? In order to do this, they thought, okay, well, we'll try to figure out what the words are that appear on the page, and we'll try to figure out what other people say the site's about from their website. And the progression of that basically came about because they were trying to figure out how can we give relevant results, but people won't easily be able to manipulate the results because they have a better understanding of SEO. That started in the late 90s, and it still happens today that, all the updates that are currently happening are the same thing that they started with on-page and link building. They're just trying to find a way to make sure that they evaluate sites on their merit and not because they paid somebody to do SEO. With that being said, they haven't succeeded yet, and I don't see them succeeding for a long time unless their intention is to manually review every website and assign a category. So it's important that you know what link building is and that you understand it, whether you're going to do it yourself or if you plan to hire somebody to do it for you, because if you have no clue, you could be putting your website in danger of being penalized, or you could be paying for services you're not even getting. So today we're going to make sure that even if you don't want to do it yourself, you know what to look for and how to identify tactics that are okay to use. Briefly here, I wanted to touch on-page SEO. I mentioned the two main factors are on-page SEO and link building. As you know, or you've probably heard, on-page SEO, it started with having a keyword in your content. Then it moved to, having meta keywords listed and stuffing those, having them in your title tag, and then, essentially people would make a different page on the website for every keyword. Recent update, Google's getting better at understanding the overall theme of a website and of a page. So, using a single keyword redundantly is not that beneficial, and it could actually hurt you. So when you're writing something, write about a topic, and then you can find keywords to support it later. The reason I want to point this out to you is because even the best link building is not going to do a lot for your website if you don't have the basic on-page fundamentals in place. And then the short definition here, as you can see on the side, link building is the process of getting other sites to point to your website. And it was referred to as Google by a vote of trust. At first that's what it was, and then they realized people were manipulating it. So now some links are a vote of trust, and other links they know are not a vote of trust. So it's not a true blanket statement anymore, but in a general overview, that's what it's supposed to be. And if you've ever heard Matt Cutts talk or read his blog or watched one of those incredibly long videos where he actually says nothing, he always alludes to the fact that if you just write great content, magic will happen and your website will start ranking and people will come to your site and everything will be well. In actuality, though, that rarely happens, if ever. The next question I get asked is, okay, I know what link building is, but does it still work? Here I have an actual website I worked on, and the client was Christian enough to let me use his website as an example. Water purification systems. High competition keyword, gets around 7,000 exact match searches a month. Some of the top competitors for this term, are Brita, Lowell's, REI, a lot of big brands that you've probably heard of. As you can see, the image here cuts off 616. If you go ahead and go over to Google and search water purification systems, that keyword's still going to show up in the top 3, just as it does in this graph. And what was that done with? Link building. It's not, a magic trick. The on-page factors were all in place already. Had they not been, this would have worked. But since the on-page was in place, link building is what resulted in this and what continues to keep the site ranking. The next question I always hear when people ask about link building is, well, since people have been manipulating the rankings with links since, the 90s, 1999, 2000, are they going to stop? Matt Cutts himself answered that question, and basically, to summarize, he said they privately ran a test to see what the quality of search results look like without using links as a ranking factor, and it's not as good as if you use backlinks. So backlinks are going to be around for the next several years. I would say that for the next 5 years, you definitely shouldn't worry about backlinking not being counted. After that, you may start to see more of a dependency on social media, which we'll get into later. But for the next 3 to 5 years, link building needs to be a continual part of your online strategy. With that, people, is link building safe? No, it's not always safe, but there are safer methods than others. And the reason I say no is because, for example, guest posting used to be, in 2012, 2013, it was the thing to do. Everybody was guest posting, and they exploited it. It went from being a guest post where you would write for a site that's got the same audience as you and have some quality, and you would just start writing for any site. In essence, that turned guest posting into the new version of article marketing. And as soon as that happened, Google said, hey, this isn't going to work. This is just article marketing recreated. So they said, if you're part of these low-quality guest blogs, your site's in trouble. That's a perfect example of, 2013, your SEO company is using the safe strategy, and in 2014, it comes back to get you. They even took down large private blog networks with that. My blog guest was a prime example. So it's not, just a poor quality SEO company that might have been using that strategy. It really could have been anybody who became part of the craze and was not very selective when they were building links. The one type of link building, as you'll see here, that has been in existence and safe for several years. Yes.
You're a little muffled. Your audio is a little muffled. I don't know if you're on speaker or what. But yeah, it sounds just a touch muffled, just so you know, if there's any way to improve that.
Let me see. Is it better now?
Yeah, it is better now, actually, whatever you did.
Okay, I had a headset. I guess the headset wasn't working.
How you doing, Jason?
Okay. If everybody can hear me now and we're good, we'll continue.
Yeah, that's much better, much better.
All right, excellent. So basically, I wanted to touch on the fact that there's been 40 major updates in the past couple of years since 2012, and about 2,000 minor revisions to those. Those minor revisions happen on a pretty regular basis, and you know, it's something that can be harmful if you're using outdated tactics. With that, editorial link building has been around for a long time, and it's not been penalized, it's not been changed, and there haven't been a lot of negative results from that. So if you're looking for a long-term strategy that consistently works, editorial link building is what you're supposed to use. It's the recommended method, and it's the most long-lasting. Sorry, excuse me for 1 second. Editorial links. You know, what is an editorial link, and how do you get those? An editorial link is essentially a link that you don't have any control over being created. It's when another person decides, you know, I really like what's on this website, and they link out to you in an article or use you as a resource or a reference for the content they write. You know, that's what Google prefers, because it's supposed to be elevating to great content. The problem with this is, if you write great content but you don't promote it, not very many people are going to see it. It would be the equivalent of building an immaculate office building in the middle of the woods with no roads pointing to it, and you didn't tell anybody it existed, you did no advertising. You know, so the same is true with your website. You could write the most groundbreaking case study and post it on your website, but if you have no following, you have no fans, and you have no promotion strategies, it's not going to be found. You know, and that's what Google, you know, still sometimes alludes to the fact that that's what will happen, but in fact it doesn't happen that way. And between the late 90s and 2011, there were a lot of tricks and different software programs you could use, not to get editorial links, but to promote your content. And if you're using any software, link building software, things like that, you know, it's important that you go ahead and stop that now, or it's going to undo or hurt any work you're doing that's on the up and up. So moving forward, when you think about SEO, you know, instead of thinking about it as, you know, I'm going to use these tricks, I'm going to use a combination of software, and I'm going to buy some links over here. SEO is becoming part of a more complete marketing strategy. And a good SEO company and a good link building strategy, if you're doing it yourself, is you have to think to yourself, how can I promote what I have to other people and make them want to tell their friends and their followers about what I have? And if you think of link building like that, one, it loses, you know, the technical edge. You don't necessarily need to be tech savvy or experienced. You just need to know how to promote yourself and promote your product or your service. And if you can do that, you can build links yourself. So, you know, in the past, link building may have been only for people with technical knowledge, but now, if you have the ability to promote yourself, you can do link building. Now, if those of you who want to do link building, but you're thinking, you know, I'm a plumber and nobody really cares about drain pipes that I install, so how am I going to, you know, get outreach and create a buzz around that? You know, it happens. There's a lot of industries that are boring, and you can get links in those industries. You just have to be very creative. You know, barring all creativity, if you want to do some link building that's safe and will actually get you some results, you know, here on the list you can see several options for link building. But to summarize all this, organizational links and supplier outreach, basically what this is that you reach out to people that are in related industries. If you, create drain pipes or you install drain pipes, you probably purchase those materials from somewhere. And if you have a relationship with a supplier, you could say, hey, I see that you have a blog and I install these pipes a lot, and you guys talk back and forth and you find out a way, what value can you offer to people who might attend his site, and in turn, why would he link out to you? And in doing so, you're getting a link from a very related site. You're providing relevant knowledge to people within your industry, and you're not manually creating the link. You're getting an editorial link, which is the end goal anyway. Some other ways to do that: cross-promoting with related companies. The key to this strategy is you want to find companies that complement your services but don't really compete with you. If you did, say, search engine optimization, you would look for a company that did website design, and you would say, hey, I would like your SEO clients, if you have any that are interested, and in turn I'll trade with you my website design clients. Without directly sharing clients with each other, you can start the relationship by, I'd like to do a guest post or, write some content for your website that you can use in order to, promote the other services that go along with marketing, or you can explain why having an SEO sound on-page built website is important. And in return, I'd like to tell my SEO clients how having a website that's SEO sound is important, and you have the opportunity for links. But more importantly, it gives you an opportunity to reach your target audience, which is the end goal of all marketing. And then you have guest posting here is on the list, and I know some of you are wondering, well, he just said guest posting is bad news. You got a lot of sites in trouble. Why in the world would I want to guest post? Well, the key is, would you post on the site if SEO didn't exist? I've said this before, and it's been a long-standing belief I have that if you would post on a site just for the referral traffic or for the notoriety in the community, or for the authority or perceived trust that it would generate, then that's the perfect site to get post on. So forget about trying to figure out the technical details of the site. What's the authority of the site? What's the ins and outs, the technical details, which most business owners either don't know about or they wouldn't know what they meant if they found them. So forget about all that and think to yourself, if I was featured on this website, would somebody who might want to be my customer find me and come visit my site? And if the answer is yes, then that's a good site to write for. Another tactic, and I've had it under the white hat, it's developing your own blogs, but they're niche related, as opposed to a private blog network, which is just very generalized. A niche-related network would be, if you're a plumber, then you have a blog or a few other blogs that talk about only things closely related to plumbing. And in doing this, if you have 3 or 4 sites that are interlinked together and all of the sites offer value, then you give yourself a boost in the relevancy of your site to the topic and in trust. If you have 4 or 5 links from sites that are not related to yours, or even if they are related but they don't offer any value, you're not going to see that benefit. So, basically a niche-related blogging is the new version of private blog networks, and we'll touch on that more in a little bit. But if you use no other strategy, that strategy itself can rank sites very quickly and very consistently. The other one is social media-driven link building, and we'll talk more about how social media and SEO work here in just a minute. But the essentials behind this is that you use social media to connect with your target audience, and so instead of sending out 1,000 emails to promote a new blog post, you can share it on social media, and it'll already go out to the people that might see it. This isn't to say you can't promote it to them by email also. This is just so they have another opportunity to see and share and link to your content. The last one is very simple. If you really have no knowledge or expertise about link building, but you want to get some more links, some more exposure to your site, find directories related to what you do. If you're a construction company, find construction directories. If you're, a business service, accounting, find accounting related sites to submit to, because those are all very topically relevant and most of them are trusted. The other thing is local citation building. A lot of people get caught up in thinking, well, I'm trying to rank, but it doesn't return the local results. Well, even if it doesn't, if you're building local citations from local directories, you're getting a very diverse link profile. Some of the links are do follow, so you're gaining some trust and authority to your site. And more importantly, you're establishing in the eyes of Google, and for branding purposes as well, that you're a legitimate business that has a real location, and that overall plays into how trusted your website is and how real it is. Because online, there's a ton of websites that aren't really a real business, or they're just nothing more than a website that sell the product to collect money. So local citation building gives more legitimacy to your business, and that's with Google, that's with people who look for your business, and they find you listed on other directories. And that's not even to include the direct SEO value that it does give you. Now on the other side of the spectrum, there's some gray hat and black hat link building tactics that they still do work, and you can still rank a site this way, but you're going to get into trouble sooner or later. And as I started to talk about on the last slide, private blog networks. For the past 2 years, you could plug your site into a private blog network that was not thematic to your niche. So if you were a plumber, you might, it could be a general blog that covers everything from home decor to car repair. And as long as that site was trusted and had some authority, you could rank your website. That's become much less effective. And the second thing is, the ones that still do work, Google has been on the offensive. A couple of weeks ago, they released an update to go after private blog networks, and more importantly, it was a manual action that they started using to take down the larger blog networks. So if you have PBN links and you're aware of it, and they're from sites that are not related to yours, you might want to look at taking those down, or at least rerouting them, unless you have a site that you can afford to lose, because the effectiveness of unrelated PBN links it's really coming to a close. Some of the other things, link buying and link renting, this has been going on for years. What people don't get is, if you can search a forum, or you can go online and buy links, and you pull somebody up online and you buy the links from them. Do you think Google can't do the same thing and say, hey, here's a whole network of sites that are selling links, so we know if you got links from this site, you're buying links. So if you're going to use this method, be careful and don't buy links that are advertised publicly. People, it would almost seem like common sense to me, but day after day, sites get annihilated because they had bought, publicly available links. They were for sale. So the short story, just don't do it. And automated link building, this is programs like GSA, Search Engine Ranker. Right now, you can still use it, and you can still rank a website. It'll last a few months, and there's a lot of steps you have to take for it to work, but it does still work. You're going to get penalized, and maybe you'll make it 12 months on the long end of it. So is that the right thing for you? Maybe, maybe not. And this is where I talk about the white hat strategies. If you're a legitimate business, you want to have long-term growth. You can't afford to lose your site, or you don't want to, or damage your brand. Stick with the white hat tactics. If you're an affiliate site, You know, you've got up a single or small website trying to sell one product that's very short term. You know, then you can use some of the tactics I talked about, link buying, private blog networks, and automated link building. You know, they're not the best scenario to use, but people use them, and you can use them well. So, you know, I'm not going to tell you all that it doesn't work, because it does. But I will tell you that you're going to get penalized, if not sooner than eventually. So the days of this coming to a close. So make sure that you have a clear plan for why you're going to use these, and be aware of the risk if you're going to do anything on the gray hat side. Now, moving on to social media and link building, here's what we found out. Over the past 2 years, and especially last year, this has become a very debated topic. Does social media affect SEO? And, you know, everybody says, oh, yes, it does. It doesn't. Back and forth. So here's what the facts are about it. Stone Temple, in December 2013, they published a case study, and they did a very close study on how SEO rankings were affected by Facebook. And in order to determine whether they were or not, they figured out, well, first of all, how much of this does Google does Google index of Facebook? With that, they found out that about 58% of Facebook posts were indexed, you know, within a few weeks. So about half of everything that happens on Facebook, Google doesn't even know about. And if they don't know about it, how's it going to have SEO value? They did find, you know, 70% was the peak for posts being indexed. And then over the next 12 months, it drops down to 50%, and that's where the study ended. The other thing to note is with their study, they looked at authority accounts. So if you're an account that has, you know, thousands or hundreds of thousands of followers, and only half of your posts are getting indexed in Google, what do you think that means for a Facebook page that's got a couple hundred followers, you know, and a couple hundred people, and it's not actively shared? Yeah, so when you think about it, the bottom line is not very much of what happens on Facebook is even being considered by Google, you know, and without being considered, it can't really have an impact. Same thing, Stone Temple did another study following up the Facebook study to find out how many tweets are indexed. And as you can see, people with 1 to 3 million followers, it's somewhere around 7%. And that's most of us. If there's anybody here that has, you know, over 3 million followers, then awesome. But the rest of us are probably in that range, or less than 1 million followers. So to have it in the 20 to 30% range really doesn't apply to any of us. But if you consider the fact that somebody with 5 million followers only has 1/3 of their tweets indexed, it becomes pretty apparent that, you know, Google doesn't have enough information about what's going on for it to actively affect how you rank. Now everybody talks about Google Plus, and, you know, obviously Google owns Google Plus, so they have, you know, access to all the information. So what they did, Stone Temple teamed up with a couple other people, and what they wanted to find out specifically was, they're getting a +1 impact search rankings consistently. So what they figured out is you could get some do follow links when you +1 a page, but overall there wasn't a consistent correlation between the number of +1s and the rankings of a website or the influence of a website. Now, if you look into this a little bit further, you'll understand that you can get do follow links from getting a +1. So I think the key factor that was omitted from their study, and the thing that you need to drill down on if you want to use Google for link building, Google Plus, is, you know, what is the authority of the profile or the page that you're getting a link from? And that's what I did a write-up for Website Magazine. I've linked out to it here. You can read more about that if you're interested. And basically it explores how can you get links from Google Plus to your website that are do follow, and how can you improve the impact and the authority of those links. And in doing that, you know, that might be the missing link from consistency. but there hasn't been enough data gathered yet to say definitively that that's what it is. But moving forward and looking forward, I would keep my eyes open to see how this plays out. The other thing is, too, Google Plus came under a lot of scrutiny because they said they were favoring it too heavily in the search results since they owned it. So with part of that, they intentionally scaled back the impact it had. But I wouldn't be surprised to see that reemerge, especially as other search engines partner with social media, Bing and Facebook data. So in the future, you might want to look for Google Plus to influence SEO more and to be a bigger part of the actual Google results. Okay, so if a small percentage of what happens on social media is getting indexed, then it must not, why bother unless you're doing it for a marketing standpoint to drive leads from social media to your website. But as I touched on briefly earlier, outreach, link building, and natural link generation is kind of what you should be going for now, and it's been the plan that's worked for the longest out of everything. So if you focus on creating a social media following that is really targeted and relevant, to what you post, then you've already got an audience that's ready to be advertised to when you do, get right in your post, you have new content that you need to promote. And the biggest drawback is, a lot of people say, oh, I'm on Twitter, I'm going to get 50,000 followers, so they follow people and follow back everybody that follows them. I mean, if you're doing that, great, but it's really nothing more than a vanity metric. So what you want to focus on is, forget about 50,000 followers. Do you have followers that actively engage with your content and that are interested with it and are likely to share it or link to it or discuss it later to help you promote your brand? If it doesn't, if the metric you're following doesn't fall in line with that, what's really the point? It might look cool, so you can say, look, you tell your boss, we're up to 25,000 likes on Facebook, but none of those people ever come back to the site. It's really not doing you any good. So the bottom line with this is, make sure that your followers, you pick them. Don't follow back everybody you see. Don't follow people that are unrelated. Look for people that have a genuine interest in your social media posts, and in doing so, you'll create another feasible way to promote your content, and you can reach a lot of people very quickly. So keep that in mind when you're working with social media. And if you've not started using social media yet, you're really missing out on a great way to promote your content, to have direct traffic to your site, and to have that indirect SEO value of generating links from people that see your content on social media and decide to link to you. So basically, just to touch on what we went over so far, as I said, link building was originally a vote of confidence for your website. And the more expertise the voter has in your niche, the more beneficial the vote will be. And basically, when I was talking about the difference between a private blog network that does not have a theme and a niche-related blog site that has value and is closely related, Google now knows, okay, this blog is related to the main site that it links to. So if those people have expertise in that area and they have linked to the site, it must mean the site's pretty good. Whereas, an unrelated site, if you're a plumber, an auto mechanic might link to your site, but he's not an expert in plumbing, so his vote would not be as beneficial. So just think of it as getting the expert in your industry, which is the website that's the expert, to say, hey, this website is in the know, and they link out to you. That should always be your goal with link building. As I mentioned, link building, for 3 to 5 years, I don't see it going anywhere. Outreach, link building, and niche publishing, which again comes back to the closely related blogs that you would set up, is one of the safest methods you can use. Both of them are. PBNs and link buying, I said it's a fast way to make money for a short-term project, but you're probably going to get hit. So, make sure you have a backup strategy or that you can afford to lose a website. And then even though social media may not directly affect SEO because most of it isn't even indexed right now, make sure that you position yourself for the future in case it does have more of an impact. And even now you can use it as a way to promote your content to relevant followers who are interested in what you have to offer. And then, overall, the big focus is quality. SEO used to be about volume. You get a lot of links to your site, and everybody, it's kind of like everybody pitches in a penny. You end up with a lot of money. But now you need to go out there and find the sites that are, giving you $100 bills instead of pennies. You'll end up with less links, but if you get the quality links, you won't need as many. So you can focus on building that good quality content that lasts for a long time, and content that people share, people engage with, and the kind of content people want to see to actually have confidence in you and become your customer. And then if you are brand new with link building, there's a few actionable steps you can take. In the build review site afterwards, so you have these links. But even doing very simple stuff like applying to join the BBB or your local chamber, sponsoring an event, these are all ways that you can get some pretty trusted links to your site. And in a lot of areas, it's not really competitive. So having just a few trusted links will be enough to put you ahead of some of your competitors. The other thing is, if you're going to list your site in a directory, gone are the days of listing it in just general directories. So if you're going to have a directory, make sure it's relevant to your site. A good example I used here is Sell the Bride. That specializes for wedding vendors only. So that would be a good place to list your site, whereas, a generalized everything from plumbers to auto mechanics would not be a good site. And then the other link building people do a lot. You can just donate. If there's a cause you stand behind, a charity, and they have a donors page, make sure you say, hey, I donated, and I'd appreciate a link back from you, because those links have an insane amount of trust and authority, and a few of those can really go a long way in putting your site above the competitor sites. And it's, if you're already donating to them, just knowing about this and asking for it is a really quick win. The last thing I don't see people use very much is HARO, or Help a Reporter Out. If you sign up for it, they send you out emails a couple times a day. And in those emails, people say, they need information about a certain topic or subject, and they ask a question, and they kind of give you guidelines. So you can respond to those, and then if they pick what you say, they publish a link. So without any technical expertise, without physically even knowing how to go to a website and add a link, you can just reply to an email, and somebody will create a link for you. And some of these links end up being on, Huffington Post and other very popular and very authority sites. So definitely don't overlook that, and it's an easy way to get started. Here's a few resources I think that you guys might all find useful. The first one is link building. This is actually over on my blog, and it's something that gets updated regularly when a method stops working or there's a change to it. If you head over there, you can sign up for the emails, and then when it gets updated, you get an email telling you what the update is, so you can kind of stay in the know without having to cover a lot of news. The other place, Website Magazine, they cover everything from search engine optimization to website design and conversion optimization and everything in between. So if you do business online and you're not sure where to start, I'd recommend checking that out. Sell the Bride. It's as I mentioned, it's very wedding specific. I'm actually putting together some information just for wedding vendors to how to market their business. So, if that's you, head over to that site. There's a good guide for getting started, and there'll be some future information that you can get a hold of that'll be really helpful to you. And, just like the webinar, it's free, it's free price, and I'm there to answer your questions. Now, Brian Dean, a lot of you might have heard of him. If not, I sign up, I subscribe to his mailing list, and, there's a link to sign up. It's on the homepage of his site. He covers a lot of SEO, link building, conversion optimization, it's really a great resource. He offers paid training once a year. I think you can sign up for it. But it's not something that you have to push down your throat because it fills up extremely fast when he does open it up. So, definitely go over there, check out the blog, and, you can take the information he says you can pretty much count on it to be reliable. With that, I know that you guys all love coming here and listening to me talk about some of the stuff. So if you want more content, more information, want to connect or ask questions, there's links to some of my profiles you can follow me on. Also, you can just email me, info@stellarseo.org. And if you have any questions, just, put in the subject line following up the webinar. Drop your question in there, and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. I always enjoy being able to help people out and answer questions, and, I do it a lot. So when I tell you to email me and ask a question, you can expect me to answer the question and not to email you back and try to sell you something. So please do take advantage of that. And with that, that's really all I have to say right now. So what I want to do now is, see what questions you guys have and see if there's anything we need to touch on.
Awesome. Travis, great job. I was actually just commenting to the guys in our office here as you were talking about how you might be the most honest SEO guys there is out there, just because you hear a lot about how you shouldn't engage in, like you said, the gray hat or the black hat tactics, but even though that may be true, they still work. And that's sort of the interesting conundrum with all this, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. That's the thing. People will tell you it doesn't work, but a lot of them do work. And, it's prevalent in affiliate marketing sites. It's prevalent in sites where leads are worth a lot of money. Some lawyers pay $500 a lead. When you see on TV some of the class action lawsuits, things like that, they're buying leads for $500 a pop for somebody who's pre-qualified. So to say that you wouldn't throw up a quick site, collect some leads, and buy links from a private blog network to rank for a month or two, of course you would if you knew that you could do it and that was your business, that you collected and sold leads, because your site's going to get popped eventually. But by then, you will have moved on to something new anyway. So there's not really a downside with that. What the problem is with black hat and the issue I take with it, and one of the primary reasons that I like to talk to people about it is there are a lot of SEO companies that will do just that. They'll sell you, the most above-the-table, clean link building methods, and really all they're doing is taking a 1/5 of what they charge you and buying some blog network links, and the rest of the time they're wrapping it up into a report that makes it look like they've done something really good for you. So that, as a business owner and somebody who doesn't know about SEO, it's important that you understand what's black hat and what methods people use, so you can identify, am I actually getting what they say I'm getting, or are they being transparent with me about what's happening?
Right. Well, the other thing, we've all seen it where you have a new competitor come on the scene and all of a sudden they're ranked above people who've been around for 5, 6, 10 years, and it's like, well, that doesn't make any sense at all. And it's because of these tactics. So here's a question, and this is the most common question we hear about SEO, and maybe the most common question most people have about SEO, which is, okay, let's say you hire an agency. How long should you give that agency before you expect to see results? Like, how long should it reasonably take if they're doing things the right way? Because the problem a lot of people have is they spend, X number of dollars a month, and about 4 months go by and nothing happens, and they're like, man, what am I spending this money on? So how much patience should you give someone? How much time? What are your thoughts on that, Travis?
Right. My thoughts on that are, time-wise, it really, a lot of SEOs say that it really depends on your niche and who you're going up against in your keywords, and that is true. There's some keywords that no matter what you did, if you did things the right way, you're looking at 12, 14 months before you're going to rank for those, and sometimes up to 18 months. So you would know maybe if that's a really competitive niche, and that could be something to expect. So instead of focusing on, when is this SEO company going to rank me for, this keyword that I have my eye on, as an SEO company, they should be educating you as the end consumer. The end goal is to rank for these keywords because, based on the percentages of click-through rates, you're going to get about this much traffic when you're there. But all through the process of ranking you for those keywords, you should be able to see measurable improvements and results. And, what you want is an SEO company that will be very honest and transparent with you. Not that will, say, well, I can rank you in 6 months, and then they show you a traffic report or something very vague, but you really have no clue how they're doing it. So what I like to do with my clients is, I start with a baseline. This is where you're at. This is the traffic you have. This is how long I think it's going to take you to rank for these keywords. That's one part of it. But in between point A, which is the baseline, and point, B, which is ranking for those keywords, there needs to be small milestones. What's realistic? If I get you, this month, if I get you a few backlinks on some really good sites in your industry, you should expect people to click on links in those and come visit your site. That's a realistic short-term expectation. If you're improving for some lower competition keywords while you're waiting for the main keyword to rank, you should expect to see a gradual increase in traffic. And especially with the way SEO has evolved and is evolving, with SEO, content marketing and public relations and outreach and even social media, they all kind of tie into what makes a really good SEO strategy right now. So if you have somebody that's, really working with you to get your site from point A to B, then you should see a lot of things happening in the meantime that you will be able to. And the most important thing is that you should look for somebody who will educate you about the process and who has, clearly outlined, this is what I'm going to do, this is my plan, here's what you'll get, make sure there's deliverables between I sign up for service, I rank for the keyword. There's got to be other things in there, other points of progress. If not, before you realize it's not working, you could pay for 6 or 8 months and not see any results. So that's just really important to remember as a consumer. Are they being open? Are they being honest? And are they showing me, what are they doing between point A and point B? How are they doing it, and how is that beneficial to me? Because I've never met a client who didn't rank for a keyword yet, but got more traffic the entire time and got more sales and more leads and was unhappy. So as long as you're bringing them the people that they need, which is the end goal of SEO and any marketing, it really just doesn't, you just don't focus on the keywords because that's just a part of it now, whereas it used to be the only thing that people measured.
Makes sense. Okay, a couple more questions and we'll be done. So a couple questions about spinning articles. Talk about that. That used to be something that was sort of in vogue, but that has been smashed by cuts. But does it still work? B, do you advise it?
If you're spinning articles to use with like a automated link building campaign with GSA or something like that, for very short term, yes, you can do that. Because the really well spun articles, they won't make any sense if you read them, but they're original enough from each other that without somebody stumbling upon it, from Google and saying, wait a second, this article doesn't make any sense, algorithmically they don't detect that it's a spun article. So it will work for the short term with automated link building campaigns. Do I advise it? No, because there's a ton of sites you can go to, freelance sites, and you can pay, a couple dollars to get articles that are original. They may not be the best quality, but they're original and they're readable, and if somebody actually went to it, they would think, well, this guy took the time to write it, he's just not a great writer. And in doing that, you spend a little bit extra money, but it's going to extend the results far beyond what you're going to get with the spun articles.
Perfect. Perfect. Travis, that answers the question. You've done a great job. We really appreciate it. What a great hour of content. Giving us really good information about link building and SEO generally. So thanks again, everybody. Thanks for your questions. If you have any additional questions, send those to to Travis, and then watch for an email from us tomorrow. It'll have Travis's contact information in it as well as the recording. So thanks again, man. We appreciate it. Any final thoughts before we close up?
Just the last thing I want to say is, whether you hire a company or you're doing it yourself, focus on quality. Take baby steps if you have to, but just one or two quality links from a really trusted and really related site, they're going to take you a lot further than a lot of high volume link building and all the other tactics that have fallen from favor. So if you've got a couple hours to work on your site, work on making and promoting a piece of content that people are really going to like, because over the long term that's going to get you a lot further than trying to take shortcuts and spinning articles and the other laundry list of ways you can try to cut corners.
Great. That's a great point. That's the best way to do it long term and do it right. So, Travis, thanks again, sir. We appreciate it. Everybody, thank you for taking the time with us. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful afternoon. Bye-bye.